Okay, so welcome everybody to the September 3rd Shanghai Life Coaching Collective webinar. What you see in front of your screen, it says Coaching Workshop Webinar. And I'll explain to you in a little bit why this is more than this webinar. It's really a coaching workshop, meaning that we're going to be doing a lot of good work, teaching and learning, and hopefully answering and asking a lot of questions in this session. My name is Colin Thompson. I am one of the leads and founders of the Shanghai Life Coaching Collective, and I want to once again welcome everybody to the Coaching Workshop webinar. So we have a very brief but detailed agenda for today. We're going to first start out with a brief overview of who we are. The Shanghai Life Coaching Collective, who are we? What do we do? What is our main purpose and mission? Well, they're going to get into the real, what I call the meat and potatoes of the workshop. We're going to have three coaches today who are going to share with us their experiences. First, Coach Jody Hu will talk to us about how to remain focused during a coaching session. I think most coaches have blanked out during a coaching session, and instead of panicking, what can we do to regain focus and really ensure we're giving the client the value that they want and need during that coaching session? We're going to have Coach Elise Li, who will talk to us about the adequate client-coach relationship. And I'm looking very forward to this because she talked about using some very not holistic, but very real coaching techniques. So I look forward to hearing that. And then I'll be talking to you guys about how to identify and penetrate your target market. You know, what we try to do here, we always try to have a little bit of opportunities to learn on how to improve our skill set doing coaching. We also try to make sure we have how to improve your skill set on the business side. So I think tonight, Coach Jody and Coach Elise will be speaking more on the actual coaching side, and I'll wrap up speaking more on the business side. Then we have a new agenda item. We're going to have a very brief Shanghai Life Coaching Collective member spotlight. We always want to promote our members. This month or this webinar, we'll be looking at a brief view of a book written by one of our very own coaches, Coach Ivana Pazek, and we'll talk about her book and how you can obtain that book at the end also. And then we'll finally wrap up with how to contact the coaches and how to really learn more about the Shanghai Life Coaching Collective and contact information. Let's see. So who are we? So we are a group of coaches here originally in Shanghai. However, we are all over China, and if possible, we would love to have a collective of coaches that represent the world. We are here to teach, support, and learn from each other. Again, we're here to teach each other how to improve our abilities to bring value to our clients and how to run a coaching business. We're also here to support each other. One of the best ways to really, I think, try out new things as a coach is to try it out with other coaches who are more experienced, because they can do what? They can give you feedback and help you sort of learn things and improve your way a little faster. And finally, we're here to learn from each other. I think when we talk about what is a collective is a group of people who have a common theme. And for us, that's life coaching. How can we really teach, support, and learn from each other? Now, in our collective, our member coaches are aspiring, new, or experienced life coaches. This means we have people in our collective who have never coached a single client, who have never really taken a coaching practice lesson. And that's fine, because they are in the right place to meet coaches to learn how to get from where they are, having questions, wondering where to go, to actually knowing where to go and having somebody who's been there before. We have new coaches who have recently graduated from their programs and are now trying to understand, I have this skill, how do I now get clients? And of course, we have experienced coaches who have sort of been here and done that. They've been here and done that, and now they want to turn around and help our aspiring and new life coaching. Now, a few things that all of the coaches in our collective have in common. They are very, very eager to support other life coaches. They're very, very eager to learn from other life coaches and actively promote life coaching. I'll be the first one to tell you, I always ask the coaches in the collective questions so I can improve my skill. If they need any support, we always give support. So again, aspiring, new, and experienced life coaches who are eager to support, learn, and promote life coaching. As I mentioned earlier, we have two areas of focus, the business side and the coaching side. I think most of us are a little more confident with our coaching ability, right? How to develop the skills to bring value to clients. One area we sometimes don't focus on is how to really build a business that consistently obtains clients. So in our collective, we look at both of these equally, how to coach and how to actually maintain a coaching business. Okay, so we're now going to go into the first speaker, Coach Jody. Before that, we do have some background noise, so if you don't mind, please go on mute. And if you want to ask a question, please come off of mute. So let me introduce Coach Jody. So Coach Jody Hu is a local coach here in Shanghai. She is a part of a co-active coaching team. They are right now going through their certifying process. She has been a very progressive and active member of the Shanghai Life Coaching Collective. Now I'll let Jody go ahead and take control and go from here. You're on, Jody.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Hello, everyone, and thanks to Colin for inviting me to share my coaching experience in this webinar. I'm not sure if I can control the screen here. So Colin is helping me.
Okay.
Colin, that's what you did, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll get you to help me. Who am I? I'm actually from Taiwan, and I finished my college degree in the United States. So my first job is IT project manager in the United States. And then I move on to work in the HR field in Shanghai, Beijing, and in Zhejiang province. And my recent job is an operations director in a training company. So that's my work experience. And I started my coaching journey in this March this year from collective coaching class. And I found myself really enjoy coaching. I like helping people, building connection with people in a deeper level. So in the beginning, because I really enjoy the collective coaching class and I really enjoy the coaching sessions. So I would say I did very well and people perceive me as a good coach. So I enjoyed it so much. So gradually, I think I want to be a professional coach. So gradually, I raised my standard on myself. And after I raised, Colin, can you move to the next page?
Yes.
Okay. So after I gradually raised my standards that I want to not just amateur, just for fun. I want to do something. I want to do this for a professional at a professional level. And then I found myself encounter those moments that I suddenly don't know what to say. And the client stopped saying, and I stopped saying, and I don't know what to do. I don't remember what the client say, or I don't know what to say next. So at that moment, my feeling was, I picked those 3 pictures. So my feeling was very much like the magical head. I got so many questions in my head and I don't know what to do. Or I turn into a blank moment like the picture on the left. I don't know what to say either. Or I try to be an angel, but I also stopped there. So I think I invited some people from my coaching community. So I promised them that I will use some Chinese. So if it's okay, I will share something in Chinese. 所以我刚刚在分享我的故事，就是我刚开始的时候，其实没有想过要做一个 professional coach， 但是后来我慢慢觉得 collective 我很喜欢，然后慢慢开始。 觉得我做 coaching 的时候可以跟别人有更深层的连接，然后我的客户也觉得我帮助他们很大，所以我开始想要往专业发展之后呢，我就开始发现我把自己的标准提高之后，我反而开始会有一些时候是突然不知道要说什么，所以就我的情绪有一点像这3张图片，就是突然像左边这张我突然不知道要说什么，或者右边这张我有很多问题，或者像中间这张我希望我是一个 angel， 我希望我是一个帮助别人的人。So these are some of my feelings when I encounter those blank moments. So I'll continue. Colin, can you move on to the next page? So those are my emotions. So at that time, I felt I need some help. And at that time, I decided I need to hire a coach for myself. Yes. So I'm glad I did. 所以在那个时候，我决定我要找一个教练，我需要一个教练来帮助我，而且我觉得我做的是一个正确的决定。And my coach helped me enhance my self-awareness. And I realized that I had those concepts or assumptions in my head. 所以就像这个屏幕上面讲的，我的教练帮助我去觉察到，其实当时我的标准提高之后 I care about how my clients look at me, look at this coaching session, or if I'm not being liked by my client. 如果我的客户不喜欢我，或者觉得这一次 session 做得不好，我突然变得非常的在意。或者是我 maybe the last time I asked the same question and I hear an aha, but this time I don't hear it. 所以我上次问一样的问题，我的客户的反应特别好啊，他有很多的觉察，但是这一次他没有觉察，所以我就突然之间变得整个注意力放在我自己的身上。So all the attention became, I put all the attention on me instead of my coach. So my coach helped me realize these, I had these assumptions. 所以当我发现我有这些想法在脑子里的时候，my coach and I together we conclude. Actually, it's my conclusion. As a coach, I'm planting seeds in my client's head. 所以像一个教练，我应该是在我的客户脑中种下一个种子。Maybe the seed will grow next week, tomorrow, next year, or 10 years later. It doesn't matter. My job is to plant the seed. My job is to help the client. 所以我的工作应该是去帮助客户。如果这个发芽的时间是明天或者10年以后，其实都没有关系。所以后来我就把注意力放在客户的身上，而不是放在我的身上。即使客户不喜欢我，或者没有 aha 的这种觉察，或者客户不喜欢我的 coaching session， 其实后来我就不太在意了。So I don't care that much about how clients look at me, whether I'm being liked, whether there were aha moments. I don't care about it that much.
So
所以那个之后 after that,
should I wait till you finish ask a question, or how you want questions to be asked?
I'll finish my part of my experience sharing, and then I'll invite other people to ask questions.
Okay.
Okay. So this is my part of the story. After this bottleneck, I felt my being is improved a lot, even better than before I decided to become professional. 所以这个瓶颈过了之后，我觉得我的状态突然之间变得比之前还要好。Of course, this is my part of the story, and I like to stop here and ask if anyone has any question. And I also like to invite if anyone like to share similar experience. What have you experienced? What did you feel? And how did you face these blank moments? 所以有没有人可以愿意分享一下你有没有遇到过这种情况？然后你当时的感受，你是怎么样应对这种情况的？这有没有问题？ I see Alice is
Yeah, I feel like Colin wants to share something. I don't know.
I always want to share, but I want to give other folks a chance to share first.
Okay. I think the more you do coaching, the moment you have, like you just don't know what is going on here. Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah, please go.
Okay, so this thing about planting a seed is so interesting because I've heard this concept like several months ago, and I heard it from Peter Guber. I don't know who's familiar with him. He's a billionaire from the US, he's owner of the best basketball club in the US, of best soccer club in the US. So basically, Cristiano Ronaldo, I don't know who's familiar with him, C. Luo in Chinese,
Right.
he arrived to Los Angeles, and this billionaire received him and spent whole day with him. And then he was asked by some people, like, why did you spend so valuable time with him? I mean, and he's not even gonna come. And he was like, yeah, but you know, your job is to plant the seed. If that seed grows, good. If it doesn't grow, you move on. You know, you need to plant the seed, and that's your job. If it grows, great. If it doesn't grow, that's what it is, you know.
Right.
And if you hear something like that from a billionaire who's like, I don't know, he's very close friend to Tony Robbins. I think we're all familiar with Tony Robbins here, and I believe that it's a very powerful thing, and it reminded me just to share this story with you guys. Sorry if I was a bit off topic.
It's a great story. Yeah, actually, planting a seed, it's a great story. When the environment is right, the seed will grow, I'm sure. And that's how it grew in me. It took me 3 years to see the seed growing in me. So I have strong belief in that. Yeah, it's so great. It's a very good sharing. Thank you. So I want to invite anyone else wants to share. And thanks for Alice sharing.
Yeah, I can share my experience. You know, you asked the question of, you know, what's going through your mind when you sort of realize that your client spoke for about a minute and a half and you totally blanked out. My previously, my first reaction is panic, right? Like, oh my gosh, what do I do now, right? And that happens in like a split second. And I'm interested in hearing, you know, what you recommend to do when you have that happen. I know what I did. You know, what I do is I try to go back to the original goal of the call and ask a question that I think is related. But I found the easiest thing to do, and this is very strange because, you know, I have some potential clients are on this call now, so I don't want to give away my trick, right? But you say, you know, I didn't really understand that. Can you explain it a different way? Right? And sometimes it allows them to restate it, right? So you have to have a few tricks up your sleeve, quite frankly, because, you know, as Li Jiao was saying, it happens to the best of us. Granted, the more you coach, the less it does happen because you're learning how to listen better and more actively and more globally. But in the beginning, initially, sometimes, you know, it's very hard not to blank out sometimes. So I think this is a great topic, and I'm curious to know, Jody, you know, how do you regain focus?
Actually, it's in my next slides.
Oh, perfect.
So I wonder if you can wait one more slide.
Not a problem.
But thanks for sharing. And yeah, I'm sure everyone is interested to know how does a coach manage that? Any techniques? So 所以刚刚大家的那个分享就是有一个很有钱的人，他其实也这个我就简单说一下，就是这个 planting seed 其实是一个很好的分享，所以其实很多的教练都会遇到这种有突然之间空白的时刻。So Colin, can you move to the next page? We'll talk about the techniques in the next page, but here I add one content. These are the ICF competencies level. So it describes the behavior for different level of the coach. So well, if it's okay to share all three levels. 所以这个是 ICF 的11项能力要求，然后在每一项能力要求里面，不同层级的教练有不同的行为表现。So I'm showing this page. These are extracts, and I use these. These are helps me to realize that I'm not perfect, but I'm on the right track. And if I continue to improve, I will be there. 所以如果我们一直在正确的道路上进步的话，其实即使刚开始可能像 ACC， 可能ACC 是Associate Certified Coach， 就是大概100个小时的100 hour。然后 PCC is Professional Certified Coach, about 500 hours. I think there are also, I checked, there's also another saying 750 hours. And MCC is about 2,500 hours. MCC is Master Certified Coach. 所以3种不同的教练，你可以看一下，他们 you can check their behavior is they gradually improve themselves. So at ACC level, you can see presence is diluted by coach's own attention to self. 所以在100个小时的时候 when they are at 100 hour, 有的时候 sometimes they have attention back to themselves. So this is sometimes happens
What
to
does that mean, Jody?
The presence diluted by coach's own attention to self.
Yes.
I would say it's what happened to all of us. Like what happened to me.
Okay.
I had the attention back to myself. I want the client to like me. I worry about what to say next. So my attention is not. Well, we are human beings.
Right.
So my attention sometimes is not. It flipped. So it fell away. So sometimes it's happened to ACC, but the next one with 2 asterisks means this behavior will, if you have this behavior, you will not receive a passing score. So listen for a place where a coach can demonstrate their knowledge. So if 如果作为教练你是想要展示你的知识的话，you will not receive a passing score. 可能你在 ACC 就会 fail. And moving on to PCC, people with 500 to 750 hours. Coach still conscious of presenting image of good coach. So that happened to me. I want my client to like me. I want my client to think this session is great. So sometimes your attention will still come back to whether I'm a good coach. So at PCC level, this is still happening. Partnership is present, but mixed with coach as expert and greater than client. So this also happened to me. Subconsciously. 有的时候我想要呈现的好像比我的客户再高一点点. I'm a little bit greater than my client. So it happens subconsciously. But it happened to me. And the next one is at PCC level, coach is listening for answer, next question to ask, looking for what to do with what they hear and try to fit things they hear into a model they understand. 所以在 PCC 的时候，他有时候还是会用自己的世界观去套在客户的身上，或者在找下一句要问什么。这个即使在 PCC level, it's always, it sometimes happens. So if you move to MCC level, they're supposed to be the master coaching. At MCC level, coach trusts that value is inherent in the process versus having any need to create value. 所以他相信 value 该发生的时候，该出现的时候，它会出现，而不是我们要去创造这个 coaching session 的价值。And the next one, coach is listening. Coach's listening is cumulative from session to session and throughout each individual session. 它可能不是某一次 not necessarily certain session, something I have to hear, but maybe accumulative from the session before or after. And the next one is what I like the most. Coach is willing not to know. 就是教练可以接受自己是不知道的. Coach does not force awareness. 就教练不会强迫 awareness, 不会强迫觉察去发生. So it's like when I was waiting for the aha moment, I was kind of hoping the awareness will come. But at MCC level, coach does not force awareness. So you can see a improvement or a progress from ACC, PCC to MCC, and we are all on our way there. So this is why I want to show this this page. So I want to stop here and see if anyone has any question. 就在这一页大家有没有问题？这个只是一些节录. These are just extracts that I feel it's helping me. If you're interested, you can find out the complete 11 competencies.
I think this is for like examination things, like certification, right? Because it's no standard structure.
I think it's helping you to understand where you are and make sure that your behavior is on the right track. But that's how I understand it. What do you think?
MCC level.
That's MCC is like a perfect coach.
Really?
Well, imagine they have over 2,000 coaching hours.
Yeah. It seems to also be like a model, right? I'm really looking at the 9-5, right? Active listening and looking at where I think I am now and where I used to be, and looking at ACC, PCC, and MCC, and saying to myself, how can I go from one category to the other? PCC is very, 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 PCC is very common, right? And looking to be able to master that, so you're not doing that. I think there may be a category between PCC and MCC, because MCC is, quite frankly, I don't even understand that one, But knowing that there is a standard and trying to go from category to category as you to improve your expertise, I think this is a good model.
Yeah, they have this document, complete document, and very long. So I just extracted maybe just 3% of it on this page.
Okay.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Yeah, I would like to ask. This all looks very interesting to me, and I can relate to a lot of these categories during my regular conversation with random people, like listening part. You can also try to display this kind of characteristics when you talk to someone trying to impress, try to boost your ego in a certain way. And I definitely would like my coach to be MCC, and I really like the description of it. But do you think maybe a client that is not very aware, that is not very, how to say, on his journey, he didn't go so far, maybe, do you think he can see MCC qualities as a weakness?
I think your
That's
question.
really good question, I think.
Did you get what I asked?
I think I get part of it.
Yeah, like because, for example, the coach is listening is cumulative from session to session throughout each individual session. The coach trusts value inherent. Yeah, for example, coach is not willing to know, or coach does not force awareness. So maybe when you display, when you show to your client that you don't know in a certain way, can he find it like as a weakness, or maybe as your try to understand you as not good enough for him, or something like that? That's my main.
Let me make sure I understand your question. You mean if I were a MCC and you are my client, and I sit in front of you and I act like I'm willing not to know, and you may feel that, what kind of coach are you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've never coached so far, but this description looks like something that someone who's not very familiar with coaching, and who's maybe not, I don't know, who sees only value in people who are kind of above him or more powerful, or I don't know, can he see this as a weakness?
Can I hey Jody, can I try to address this question?
Sure.
Yeah, I think I have a perfect example. For example, if you're coaching an executive and the industry is finance, and they're really trying to manage their team, they're really trying to also get another promotion, and they say to you, I'm thinking about going into this area of finance. What do you think? As a coach, it's perfectly okay to say, well, you know what? I really, I think this is your area of expertise, right? Where do you think you should go? Because that shows the client that we don't have to understand everything about finance to be a good coach. And when we're younger coaches, we think we have to know more about what the client is experiencing. And that might not be the case. So this is where the coach is saying, you know what? They may not know specifically about the industry or the area, but they can still offer good advice. So when we say we're not forcing awareness, I'm not saying, you know what, well, I kind of know some finance stuff when I really don't, right? You throw it back to the coach, to a client, and say, well, you have a lot of experience in finance. How would you proceed? Where do you think you should proceed, right? So I think younger coaches may try to fake awareness, whereas a more mature coach may not, would be more willing to admit that they don't know and ask questions that still help the client. Does that help, Sasha, answer your question?
Completely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that reminds me, maybe what I can think of is if someone comes up and say, I'm experienced very difficult relationship or very difficult office environment, very hard jobs. And as a coach, I may have experienced that too, but I may not. But I don't have to act like, oh, I know all that. But yeah, I can say I have not experienced a bad marriage like that, but I can feel you have this you have the sorrow, you have the pressure. I can feel your concern. So I don't have to fake like, oh, I know how that is. I don't have to know, but I can still be there with you. We can still see, help you and see what you feel, what you want to do is best for you. Does that help you? Yeah, okay. All right, any more questions?
Yeah. I want to add on what you just advised. I think this is more, I can also explain it from the coach-client relationship, this angle, which you give more space to the client, give him or her more space to digest or to reflect or to be aware of what is happening here. This is more like spacious thing. Coach is not authority, and coach is not like, I know everything, I know this, I know that, I can help, I can support. No, coach just believes the client, you're so resourceful and you're so creative, you know everything, and you have the ability to figure out your problem. I'm just here to be with you. This is more like a spiritual or being status. This is my understanding, and I could explain more in my session.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks.
Okay, great. Okay, if no more questions so far, let's move to the next page. And now we can talk about, still you may need some techniques. And Colin, can you show the page? Okay, there's one technique that I think Alice also know we learned from collective coaching. I quite like this technique. Yeah, if you want to demonstrate, that's fine. That's okay.
I really so bad at it. Please demonstrate it. I don't know what it is. Like, you have to imagine something silver rain. Please.
It's a visualization. So when you realize, when you suddenly found that, oh, I have so much thoughts, so many thoughts in my head, and I cannot focus on the session on my clients right now, you can visualize. Maybe if you want to try, you can close your eyes and visualize with what I say. You can visualize there's a silver rain coming, and it's dripping on you, on your hair, on your face, and you feel the rain. You feel the coolness on your cheek, on your lips, on your nose. 有一阵银色的雨飘过来，然后它洒在你的头发上、你的脸上、你的嘴唇上、你的鼻子上。And you can smell the rain. It's cool. It's refreshing. 你可以闻到这个雨。And it's dripping on your skin. 可能在你的手上。And it's flowing down. And it washes away your thoughts. So you come back as a refreshed person. So it's a way that if you feel that you are panicking, you have a lot of thoughts in your mind, and you can try this one. So this is one visualization. I quite like it to help you come back as a refreshed person. 所以它可以帮你，我觉得对我来讲很有用，就是可以很快的帮我 refresh， 就重新开始。Intuition is another one. I found that when I was suddenly lost, 我就突然之间在这个 coaching session 里面，就突然之间不知道客户在讲什么的时候，I will turn to my level 2 and level 3 listening， 就是我就会换成第二层或者第三层倾听。I will respond to the client's emotion。所以在他讲的时候，虽然我不知道他的内容很具体的，但是我会讲说，我现在感觉到你好像很害怕。I may say that, I sense you have a fear. I sense you have a concern, or you worry about this situation. Do you want to talk more about it? 所以我会说，我感觉到你有一点恐惧，或者我感觉到你有一点压力，你愿不愿意讲一下？ So the client usually they will say yeah, and they will continue talking, and then we'll come back to, both of us will come back to this connection. But sometimes it's rare, but it happens. 有的时候他也会说没有啊，我没有害怕呀，或者我没有紧张呀。But it's okay. Intuition is not meant to be right. Intuition is to help you rebuild connection, or just say what you have sensed, say you observed, and help the client to bring up their awareness. So 就是直觉不是说一定要是对的，只是把你当下的感受说出来，然后你可以重新跟客户建立连接，或者帮助客户去更好的觉察。So that's another technique. But whatever you do, you're trying to reconnect with the client, with the person. 你是想要跟对方这个人建立连接，而不是跟事情建立连接。所以关注点还是在 you focus on the person, the emotion, the feeling, but not on what happened before, what happened next. That's not your purpose. So the next one, Colin, can you help?
Yep, coming. My screen is locked up. A second. Sorry, let me get this in control.
But well, it's okay. But I like to check with the group here. These are the techniques I use. But I also like to know, does anyone has other techniques? Or to be honest meaning if you really have no technique, nothing works. Just be honest and tell the clients that I'm sorry, I was a little bit lost the last second. Can you repeat? Just be honest. Your purpose is to rebuild connection with the client. So I would like to invite the group and share any other techniques that you find useful that helped you. Colin, you mentioned this. Even though your client is here, would you like to share some techniques?
两个杯子，两个温度。
Can I 那个如果没有在讲话的，请先静音，好，谢谢。
Okay, so one technique I can share a technique I do to avoid going blank. I constantly take notes, right? So during the session, I'm writing notes as they talk because I do a lot of repeating for validation. So one way to avoid is taking notes. And sometimes when the client speaks, say the long statement, a very powerful statement, I'll say, wow, I got to write this down, write it down. And they continue, right? So I'll lose my place. But what I'll do is I'll say, can you go back a second to this statement, right? And talk about the powerful statement. So, and it allows them also to repeat what they said, but allows us more importantly to go back to that powerful statement and spend some time there. So that's one technique I use to sort of go back to something they said previously that was potentially powerful, and not so much focus on what I missed, because typically they'll say that again after that powerful statement.
Okay, great. Thank you, Colin. Anyone else has any good techniques you can share with the group?
I just saw some coaching fellows like Olivia, and I'm not sure if Helen is our classmate, but Olivia, would you like to share?
Hello, Elise.
Hi.
Hello, Jody. Hi,
Hi.
Colin.
Oh.
Yeah. From that part, I think practical perspective, I don't have too much of the experience now, but I think you guys shared is really helpful. Just I could only share be present with your client. Yeah, just focus on the topic, bring out all your antenna, laser focus on the second level and third level listening on to the emotions, to the micro facial expressions, to what's hidden behind, to bring out the curiosity, to what's the client trying to tell us. So that's in my imagination on the real cases, or on the real cases that I will do.
Yeah, so Olivia, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks to Olivia.
Hold on, Jody, because Elise, I like your style of calling out coaches, right? So I think Coach Sherry is on the line as well. So Coach Sherry, you probably had this. You're an experienced coach. Has this happened to you? And if so, what have you done to sort of regain your focus?
I never lose it. Sorry, I cannot understand this.
Yeah, similar Yeah, I do not have too much of the practical moment of the losing focus. So because we are trained to be focused.
Oh, okay.
Experience.
We have poor training. Okay.
No, and we talk about like focus.
What I'm implying. So
right.
Just with limited experience, I haven't encountered in the real cases. But what I can imagine is that. So I can echo with Elise. Don't have too much to share on this part, but I think what we discussed is something it could happen when we have lower energy. We have a first level curiosity, focus on what we wanted to do rather than what the client wants to achieve. So sometimes it could happen. I think this is a good perspective to be able to share and discuss. So back to Elise. Yes, just add on what you brought more thoughts from my side. Thank you.
And thanks, Colin's question. You remind me that I figured out maybe at the beginning of the coaching, because I have to take like 1 hour to go to my client's place, and then we start coaching. So, both of us have to adjust the status. So it means maybe I can not also very quickly just in the status of coach. So maybe sometimes I will lose myself, like not in the status, but it's very important that you just put yourself back in very stable and very neutral status. Because when you just lose your status, but it's very important you just come back. I don't think it's like lose your focus is very common, but it's more important that you just adjust very quickly. And when you do this more, you feel like if you there's no losing anymore because you do it so quick.
Right. And I would say, you mentioned that when you have to travel to see a client and the first few moments may be a little hectic, right? I think as coaches, it is our responsibility to make sure that they're not hectic, because that's the first 30, 45 seconds of that call is where you really set the atmosphere of a call. And if we know that typically it gets a little hectic, we have to do everything we can to avoid that, because remember, the client is paying cash. They're paying money, right? They're paying money, and they have to absolutely get their full value. If they think like even 1 minute was wasted, you feel it, and they will shut down. And once they shut down, it's hard to get it back in that session. And as you know, if you only have X number of coaching sessions with a client and helping them try to achieve their goal, missing 1 hour, losing 1 hour is a lot to miss, a lot to lose, right? So we have to make sure, I like what Olivia said, right? We're trained to listen, right? So we have to train to make sure that once we start that call, we set the correct tone instantly.
Yeah. And since you talk about hectic, I think arrive early is another technique. At least 10 minutes early, you settle down and you control, just let your breathe slow down. Right. So I think that's the minimum as a professional coach that we should do. And in the book, the corrective book, it also says you can have a small ritual. So you either have some scent, 就是你烧一些香啊，或者是 or you pour a cup of water, or you do something as a ritual. And if you do it every time, 如果你每次都做这个小小的仪式, it will help you get into the coaching mode quickly. 所以你可以自己设计一个小小的仪式，然后每一次开始之前你有一个小小的仪式，然后这个会让你慢慢习惯进入这个教练的模式。Yeah, that's 2 more techniques. Great. Okay, so here's my session, and if you have any more, because my time is up, so if you have any more questions, you can ask me offline. And I like to thank everyone, and thanks Colin for inviting me to share. Thank you.